Elixir project, it seemed to me, was just another assignment, just another thing to be done. But today I want to talk about why the Service Summit and the Elixir project still have meaning and relevance to me 3 years later, and why I think its value will only grow in the future. What made the Service Summit impactful to me, what really made it speak to me, was that so many of the people who presented at the Service Summit that year, when I was a freshman, took up a project on their own personal initiative. They identified an area of society, something in the community that they wanted to improve. They identified an area where they thought more work could be done, and they applied their own personal passion to improving a situation in their community. What I saw was that so many of these people had worked at kind of this intersection between their passion and an area for change within their community. But as I went through all these presentations, I couldn't see myself doing any one of those projects in particular. None of those projects, although they were very inspiring, spoke to me at a personal level. I couldn't see myself doing any one of them. But I had a stroke of luck. I went to one of the presentations by a lady from the Tung Hua group of hospitals. She wasn't a student here at HKIS, but she'd come to the Service Summit to present about this group of schools that the Tung Hua group of hospitals ran in Hong Kong. And her service proposition was that you could independently create a curriculum to teach to these schools, and that you would have complete freedom to do whatever you wanted to do. And that really spoke to me because I didn't have a specific thing I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something. And to just have this blank slate, this empty hand to do whatever I wanted to do was something I found really exciting. And from there came the social conscience engagement program that I'll be presenting to you today later during this Service Summit. I continued with the social conscience engagement program after my Elixir project. But I think that the Service Summit and the Elixir project wasn't primarily valuable because of that project. I think the value, for me at least, of the Service Summit and of the Elixir project was that I walked away with a different mindset. A mindset of creating change, of finding an area in society or in a community that needs help or something that I could improve upon, and then applying my passion to create that change, to make that difference. So Volunteer Connect, the project that I'm going to be talking to you about today, did not come out of my Elixir project, but it would never have happened if I hadn't done the Elixir project, and if I hadn't been here today at the Service Summit. Volunteer Connect, the service platform that I created, came in the most unexpected of circumstances. I was in Christmas holidays in Lantau Island, walking along the beach with my mom and some family friends, when I was speaking with one of my mom's friends who volunteers at an elderly home. And he said that they had a lot of volunteers coming in, a lot of student volunteers coming in, who didn't really know what to do at that care center. A lot of these people had an idea of what they wanted to work on, but what they wanted to work on wasn't necessarily what that care center needed. There was a mismatch between people's expectations and between the reality of the service that they were doing. And he said that they really couldn't find a solution to it. How could they find a way to tell students that these are the kinds of projects you can do in particular areas? How did they have a way of showing students how they could apply their own interests to a project that would be required by the society and that would be required by that particular care center? And that's where the idea of Volunteer Connect came from. I myself am really interested in data, and I'm really interested in economics, and I'll be studying that when I go to college next year. So I thought, hey, this is a perfect economic problem, right? You have people who have a need, who have a desire, and then you have other people who might be able to fulfill that desire, but they don't really know how to match the need with the skill, right? So that's where Volunteer Connect came in. I created a database that's now online at hkservice.org, where you have about now 500 entries from students who have done projects across a variety of service areas, from helping animals, to doing beach cleanups, to doing a variety of other things along those lines. And you have a listing of service organizations where people can do this service. So what I tried to do for Volunteer Connect was bridge this gap between what was required from service organizations, what was required from society, and what people had as their own aspirations, what people had as their own skills. So essentially, although Volunteer Connect didn't come from the Elixir project, it was that mindset of creating a change when I saw it that enabled me to create it. Because if I hadn't come to the Service Summit, if I hadn't done the Elixir project, that conversation at the beach would have just been another conversation. It would never come up again, and nothing would ever come of it. But because of the Service Summit, because of the Elixir project, I decided to take that next step, to try and make a change where I saw potential to do so. So really, what I want to tell you today is don't fret if the perfect project seems to elude you. Don't fret if you can't find exactly what you always dreamed of finding in terms of a service project that appeals to you. Rather, I think you'll get the most out of the Service Summit today if you have a transition in your mindset. If you look at the world's issues as a puzzle to solve, as Mr. Kirsten said to me yesterday. Because you might have that missing piece. And you just have to keep trying to find a way to apply your interests and your passions to problems that you see. And I guess that's where Volunteer Connect can come back into the picture, right? Because this database, I think it's something that could be useful to you if you're looking for a project within a particular area. So I'd encourage you to come to the presentation for Volunteer Connect and learn more about how you can use it to find something related to your interests. And as you go through the day, I hope you're inspired by the projects that you see. But more importantly, I hope you're inspired by this mentality, the mindset of trying to create change that made those projects possible. I just have one request for you. Don't think of your Elixir project as something that has to be done. Think of it as something that has to be begun. Thank you.